Hello everyone, welcome to the Vibe with Z podcast, where bold stories meets beautiful energies. Hi, I'm Z, your host, and I'm back again with another episode. I will always say, hey guys, I have a special guest, but today the special guest is just me, myself, and God that's within me. Before we get started with this podcast, make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe. I've neglected to mention that all of season 2, and I think that is very important because we won't be where we are today without your comments, without your likes, and without your subscriptions. So make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and tune in to further episodes because it is always deep over here. Speaking of deep, you guys know I have my note cards, and today we're going to discuss something that I feel like will be not only beneficial to myself to reiterate these topics or these things and go over what I have learned, but also for everyone who feels like they're in their 20s and they're really trying to figure out what's going on. So sit back, relax. We're going to discuss this together. I did have some audience engagement, so thank you all. Shout out to you who have engaged in my topics and would like to have a shout out today. Y'all, I don't know why tonight I'm super nervous. I need to calm down. I'm going to drink some water. It is a work night and I know I have to get up in the morning, so I'm like, oh my goodness, do this episode and complete it. I'm going to sit back, I'm going to relax, and we're going to start. So I wanted to express this topic of truths I've learned in my 20s, or concepts, ideologies, whatever the case might be. These are just all things that I have learned that has really helped elevate my life as a 25-year-old, about to be 26 in a couple of months. I'm so excited. But we're going to get right started because I feel like maybe I have a lot to say. I don't know. We'll see how this podcast goes. It's a solo episode. Oh my goodness. Okay, so my first truth, and this is in no particular order. My first truth is don't take everything personal. I think I learned this truth back in 2021, and I had no clue the concept. I feel like I've heard it before, but a lot of things are really just a saying until you really implement it in your life. And I remember it was like a part of dating, and I had an epiphany, and it really clicked for me. And as I stated in my last podcast, I always seem to write things down on my mirror when I actually gained it and started to implement those concepts in my life, and it's elevated my life. So that don't take everything personal was something that I really implemented in my life, because let me tell you guys something. People are walking projections. You have to understand that your perception is your reality. So people go around perceiving the world in their own reality. Therefore, they typically project their external world externally. When you know that, I just feel like that is just a part of healing and growing and getting a broader scope of human nature, because it literally helps you find peace. Understanding not to take things personal. If someone is having a bad day and they're rude to you, oh man, they must be having a bad day. If there's a random person that is cutting in line, oh man, they must really be hungry today. I don't know, but more of the story is to not take things personal, even when it comes to dating life, when it comes to friendships, all the friends that like dissipate, or all the friends that just like, you know, let me be honest right now. I have a lot of things on my mind, and I'm trying to record this pod, and I have 1,000,001 things on my mind. And that brings me to my next point, which wasn't second, but I have to be authentic. Be authentically yourself. I wanted to record this podcast later on in the week because I felt like I would be more prepared, more organized. But I knew that like you don't always have to push out things with perfection. You can literally sit and be your authentic self, and people respect that more than always coming on the pod and having all your ducks in a row. And that brings me to my third point, which is go after your dreams and take risks. I just recently watched a TikTok video, and he stated in his TikTok, quit waiting to post, or quit waiting to follow your dreams until the perfect time, or the perfect content, or the perfect hour. Like, half doing it is better than not doing it at all when it comes to content, because you never know what might blow up, what might be effective to other individuals. So here's me really trying, and I just added 2 more concepts into what I've learned in my 20s to you guys in a very authentic way. Be authentically yourself. People cannot take away who you are. And if you stand in your own self and stand in your own truth, that gives you the most power, and also is a very healing. And as you guys may know by now, I'm all about healing, and I'm all about just being authentically yourself. And I think it just comes from me navigating through that and learning that, and still learning that to this day. Like sometimes I'm even hard on myself, like, oh my goodness, I smiled too hard in that picture. No, girl, you're goofy. You love to laugh, you love to smile, and you smile so big. And that is a part of you, and that's what people love about you, but also that's what you need to love about yourself. You don't have to push out what you feel like will connect to others. Like the right people, when you're authentically yourself, the right people will reel in, and you will not have to fake anything, not a smile, not a picture, not your personality, anything. And that's what brings me to another point. I just had it and I lost it. I don't know. It was something with person. Oh yes, I got it. It came back to me. The next point, fall in love with character and not personality. Fall in love with people's character and not their personality, especially in a dating world. Let me tell you, personality is beautiful, but it's an add-on. How someone makes you smile because of their goofiness, that's a part of their personality. How witty they are, how charismatic they are, those are all personality traits. But somebody's character is their loyalty, their integrity, their values. That's their moral compass. How they're willing to protect you even when you're not in a room. How they're willing to hold your heart and protect your heart and love you correctly. Those are people's characteristics. Fall in love with someone's character, not their personality. Oftentimes we get so caught up in someone's personality that we neglect to evaluate their character. And then their character starts to reveal itself. Yes, he might be funny, but also he's not loyal. He's funny to you and her and her and her and her. So his character shows what? He has lack of loyalty. He has no self-discipline. That's character. So it's very important and something that's so pivotal. Fall in love with someone's character. Evaluate their character first, and then their personality can come thereafter. And even if you initially fall in love with their personality, make sure you take the time to examine their character, because that's equally or not even equally important, is more important when it comes to longevity, when it comes to tender love and care. Okay? So yeah, believe in actions and not words. Believe actions and not words. And that also goes with that also goes with people's characteristics. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I really think that what makes a man is when his actions align with his words, and there's a lack of inconsistencies. What makes a man is when his actions align with his words, because he becomes reliable, he becomes dependable, he becomes so many things. Trustworthy, trust increases, safety increases. When he says he's going to do something, he does it. When he says he's this type of person, he shows you. When he doesn't even have to speak that much, because he shows you. That is what makes a man. So yes, believe actions and not words, because so often people are really, really, really good with their words. They have mastered their words, but their actions neglect to align with their words. So really be careful not to fall in love with words. Fall in love with actions. It speaks louder. Your behaviors is a testament to your true character. Character, personalities, that's like a trend. That's like a common thing in this tonight's episode. And tonight's episode might not be that long. I'm just happy I'm getting in front of the camera because I'm a very organized person. I'm a very like routine person, and this is so out of my routine to be recording a podcast on a weekday. But I'm willing to do it because that's another point. I just recently learned this. I just recently implemented this. Life is fluid. Like everything is not going to happen exactly how you plan it to happen. And yes, I know that, and I knew that in a broader sense. Like I knew that in the faith spirituality aspect, like the Lord determines our steps. But like still in my everyday small minute things that I do in life, I find myself like in a routine. But I'm learning to be more fluid as in every day I'm probably not going to go home. When weather gets bad, I might stay in my sister's house because it's closest to my job, things of that nature. I'm just like, oh my goodness, like I have to be more fluid. I have to fluctuate. I've learned that as a school-based therapist. My schedule is not always going to be what I want my schedule to be. Sometimes kids aren't at school. Sometimes there's doctor's appointments. So it has taught me to be more fluid and just to like go with the flow on some things. And so that's another thing that I've learned. Yeah, that's the biggest thing I'm learning. I'm still working on that to this day. And it's okay. It's so okay. I'm telling myself that right now. Like, it's okay. I think that this is centered and very pivotal, and especially in this season of my life. Like, I think this season is very beautiful, as I stated in previous pods. But there are some things that's testing. And so I want to reiterate this to myself, and probably to some of you that might need to hear this. Trust God. No matter what it looks like right now, no matter how uncertain it is, trust God. He's the author and perfecter of our faith. He loves you. He's real. He's gotten you this far. Trust him. Trust him, trust him, trust him, trust him. Oh my goodness. I love that. Trust him. And that brings me to a point. Take risk. I heard someone say in a podcast, I wish I can reference them, but they said, some of the reasons why we don't take risk and we want 100% certainty of signs or visions or audible voices that God wants you to do this is because we don't want to move with faith. If God said, hey, this is exactly what you need to do when you need to do it, you wouldn't need faith. And in return, you wouldn't need God. So therefore, when you trust God and he gives you a sign, sometimes you just have to take that risk and trust that if it's not the path that you are supposed to be on, God will redirect you because he acknowledged your faith that you were trying to take. And you just got to keep going. You just got to keep going. Sometimes we have to take risks because risk is a testament to our faith and our trust in God. And he will always protect you and redirect you when need be. Which brings me to another point. Rejection is either protection or redirection. Point blank period. Protection or redirection. Sometimes we have no clue, no earthly clue what we want or why we truly want it. We just know we want it. But if you get rejected, just know that if you're trying to make it to that 1 percentile, everyone there has gotten rejected 1,000,001 times. So I would say accept rejection and keep going, keep going, keep going. That's something I'm telling myself as well. It's okay. It's okay. There's something greater. There's something greater if there's rejection. Ooh, number 4. Well, this was number 4. It's not technically number 4 anymore. But go to therapy and heal your traumas. Go to therapy and heal your traumas. I was sometimes like dealing with the fact that I'm 25 and I take life so serious, and I have a lot of insight and introspect, and I'm healing this and healing that and doing this and doing that, and my perspective of the world is just so serious, and I don't have a lot of fun and etc. But one thing that I'm coming to terms with, I am doing a lot of work now. I haven't missed out on a lot of things, but I know that the healing that I'm doing, the faith that I have, the career that I have, it's all going to pay itself off. So my 30s and 40s are going to be a time, because instead of partying, I am healing. I am getting to my word. I am having hard conversations with my parents. I am having hard conversations and healing conversations with my siblings, my friends. I'm confronting my weaknesses. I'm praying over my weaknesses. I'm strengthening my strengths. You know what I'm saying? I'm vulnerable. I'm building my podcast. I'm doing all of these things and staying down as I'm doing them, because I know it'll pay off. God has told me so. So, and define your values and align your life with your values. This is the last point I have until I go into the second segment, which is the audience tell, what they learned in their 20s. Define your values. You will be surprised the amount of people who do not know their values, which is their moral compass, who do not know what they stand for. Therefore, they fall for anything. No self-discipline. If you don't have values, you don't have self-discipline. So define your values and align your life with your values. I've learned in this chapter of my life, my values were my career, God, my family, love, freedom. So I've aligned my life to those values. My job is really free. Really free. I love the flexibility in my job. I move closer to my family. That's one of my values. God, will always be my value. I'll always be pouring time into God, even if sometimes the faith is shaky, because I'm truthful and I'm honest, etc., etc., etc. I've aligned my life to my values, and it always gives me a sense of liberation and a sense of aliveness. Aliveness. I love aliveness. I love vibes. Alright, I know I made that pretty quick. Honestly, I'm kind of thrown off because there are some people that's out there talking and stuff, and it's just throwing me off. But anyways, we're going to go straight into segment number 2. Like, as I stated, this solo episode is not going to be very long, but it is very great that I'm going to have something out. My next podcast is going to have a special guest, and I cannot wait for you guys to know who the special guest is, to learn everything this person has to say, for this person to open up, and I'm just super excited. So I'm going to take a drink. So this next portion is just audience engagement, and I'm so grateful that these people have chose to engage in my podcast. And again, I just asked the public, I said, what are some things you learned in your 20s? And I said, I'll give a shout out. So first I'm going to start with a shout out, the real typo, which is my brother. So thank you so much for all your support. I love you so much. And he is also my age. So we're the same age. So he's mid-20s. And the biggest thing he has learned is to travel the world as much as you can and make memories that'll last forever. And I totally agree with that. 100%. Travel the world. The world is so big, and it also reminds you of just how small you are. And small, not in a bad way, but small as in, wow, God is infinite. This world is beautiful. There's so much opportunity, so much to experience. And it kind of makes your problem small. It makes your problem small when you see the world more. So I would say, yes, I agree. Travel the world. That's a very good segue into my next episode, but we're going to keep that on the low. Make memories that'll last forever. Yeah, I love that. Y'all know I love a vibe. I love memories that last forever. I love vibes. I love vibes. Okay. Y'all, I'm so backwards. I took pictures of what people said on my camera because I'm not using my camera to record my podcast. I'm using my phone. Anyways. Ooh, what's your name? Okay, Caitlin Faith, shout out to you. She said, ooh, hold on, my eyes. Oh, can I zoom in? Oh God, zoom in. Okay, Caitlin Faith said, it's okay to live your life regardless of what others have to say about it, because it's all our first time living. Stay rooted in and trust in God, and your life will play out how it needs to. Yes, ma'am, Caitlin. Yes, it's okay to live your life. This is all of our first time living this life. Nobody has a blueprint. Caitlin, that brings me to a point. Something just clicked in my head that everyone's living life on their own theologies, their own ideologies, their own concepts of how they feel like they should. There's no blueprint. And I don't know why certain things really click for me. There's no certainty in anything. And so if someone judges you for your concept or your perspective of how you feel like you should live life, then that is on them and between them and God. No matter what people do, everyone's always going to have their own personal subjective opinion to how life should be lived. So you're right. Live your life. Live your life. God, yes, trust in God. Always trust in God. I love that, Caitlin. Thank you so much for sharing. And then we have Camille, my girl Camille. Thank you so much for Camille. Shout out to you for engaging. Camille said, let's see if I can read this. Truly, everything works out the way it's supposed to. I remember times where I planned everything out for my future because I thought I knew what was best instead of trusting God. Every time something hasn't gone the way I planned, I always find out the reason why later on. Every time something doesn't go the way I planned, I always find out the reason why later on. So for all of you who have just went through something and don't know the reason and you're seeking the why so you can be able to grow from it, you will find out. If you haven't, you will find out. Trust in God. I love that, Camille. That's so beautiful. Thank you so much. I remember times where I planned out everything for my future because I thought I knew what was best instead of trusting God. Wow. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Sometimes we plan our future because of our lack in trust in God, or just because we feel like we know what's best, but ultimately God knows the number of hairs on your head. So he knows what's best. And sometimes that's scary. So I do not judge anyone because I be in that same boat too. I don't know how long this podcast is, but I do know it was a good, fruitful podcast. And I would just like to say thank you all for tuning in to the Bible Z podcast, where you have just experienced what you got an impactful, beautiful experience. Hi, I'm Z, your host. Thank you so much for tuning in because it had just gotten deep over here. Make sure you like, share, comment, subscribe, and tell a friend that it is getting deep over here. Bye.